Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E.G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
Minute 41 of Groundhog Day is just the Phil Connering of Nancy Taylor. Part 3. Part 1 was in the diner where he got her name, high school class information. Last minute, he used that information to interact with her and to get her to lie right back, basically because she didn't want to admit in polite society that she didn't remember this guy who sat next to her in a high school class and asked her to the prom. Now he's still playing on that as we go into this minute. He has walked out of frame and he says, "I'll be right back, wish me luck." Goes out of frame. And behind him, she's still pointing down at the ground with both hands. And she says, "Good luck," really excitedly. She's happy, cheerful, whatever. She's got a lot of energy for 7 in the morning. 7:20 in the morning. And then she claps 3 times, really quick. Like she's applauding him walking up to go on stage. Even though she's quite far from the stage, actually. She's behind most of the crowd. Cut to fake fireplace. We haven't seen this part of the room. We wouldn't immediately know where we are. But we are at Phil's room in the Cherry Street Inn. Behind us is the bed. Behind us to the left would be the sink area that he goes and splashes water on his face every morning. And off to the left in front of us is the stairway down, which doesn't really go anywhere, which I'll point out again when Rita uses those stairs. And it's a little miming. Fake fireplace, we don't immediately know where we are. Cut to on the couch, Phil, Nancy on his lap, straddling him. They're making out. And she says, "Oh, Phil," and he says, "Oh, Rita." And she sits back, stops kissing him, looks him in the eye, and like, right there. Who's Rita? Actually, she doesn't even have that much challenge in her voice. Who's Rita? Like, she's actually curious. And his response is actually really funny because he doesn't be like, "Oh, sorry, that's someone I know," or "That's an ex," or he doesn't give her a specific. He says, "How should I know?" He's the one who just said the name, and he says, "How should I know?" Oh, I love that one. And Nancy's like, "What is this? Some kind of one-night stand?" And then Phil goes too far, I think. The next lie is too much. But it is also too much in a way where when Nancy leans back in and goes in to kiss him on the neck, it makes it easier to blame her for this moment. It's wrong, but we accept it. It's still the early 90s. 80s comedies often had problematic stuff in it. Just watch, common examples. Dude getting under the table by Molly Ringwald's legs in Breakfast Club. Or guy sleeping with the girl. Is she drunk? Or how does he get her in bed? I forget the circumstances now, but the Revenge of the Nerds thing. Where he's basically, I think she's drunk. And he goes to bed with her anyway, knowing that. But it's an 80s comedy thing. It's irreverent and irresponsible and immoral. Phil goes too far when he says, "On the contrary, Nancy, I love you. I always loved you." Keep in mind, she doesn't really remember him. But since this morning, she has probably been trying to convince herself that she knows this guy who's now a weatherman. And in the universe inside the film, that means she also doesn't have any friends she could ask today. There's no one she can call and be like, "Do you remember Phil Connors from high school?" Nancy doesn't have friends. She works in the dress shop and makes noises like a chipmunk when she gets real excited. But that's all we know about her. So if anything, this is worse for us. Because we should get from 2 minutes ago, she was alone at the diner. Last minute, she was alone at Gobbler's Knob. Now she went home with a guy who just told her an easy lie to try to believe. And now he gives a big lie. And she could have been like, "No, you have not always loved me." Or she could have challenged him on, "If you always loved me, why didn't you tell me?" Of course, then he could just say, "I did when I asked you to the prom." But then it becomes a series of lies he has to keep up with, and at least she can challenge him on it. She could win this conversation. But no, Phil wins. Because he says, this is going to seem sudden, but Nancy, will you be my wife? The correct answer, Nancy, is no, I don't know you. Or like, yeah, maybe we knew each other once upon a time, but that might be a little too fast. How about we just go on a second date first? Or a first date. I don't even know if they had a date here. She just ended up back at his room. But she leans in, goes to kiss on the other side of his neck, and says, oh, Phil. Like, she's falling for it. She's buying in because that's what she wants. She wants this whirlwind fairy tale romance. He's not a prince, but he's a celebrity, or at least a local-ish celebrity. And that's good enough. But then after she says, oh, Phil, he says, oh, Rita, again. And Nancy pulls back and says, Nancy. Phil says whatever. And they go back to making out. And I'm like, Nancy, have some self-respect. Phil, have some self-respect. This is bad. If he just went out to the diner, like he knows Nancy's going to be there, don't lie to her at Gobbler's Knob. At the diner, ask her name and be like, so I'm just in town for the day. You want to hang out later? Ask her out on a date. Don't lie to her. You don't have to lie to her. If she says no, then you just go to the next table over and talk to Debbie. Well, she's not the next table over, but Debbie's there at the diner as well. Talk to Debbie. I know you're having some second thoughts about Fred and all that, but you want to hang out later? Or go to, I guess the people at the table in the corner are probably a married couple with the two kids. Probably don't want to talk to that woman. Doris, you could ask Doris out. You could ask the waitress at the Cherry Street out. You could ask, like, there's so many people that you don't have to lie for it here. Just like in real life. You don't have to lie and put on a false front when you go out dating. That's why dating or going out to a bar and or a club or whatever and trying to meet people was never going to work for me. That parts of the internet happened to work out that way was just sheer luck. That I found a couple girls to interact with, and eventually my wife, was luck. And I am glad it happened, but if it had required me going to an actual place to hang out and interact with people, I wouldn't have gotten there. I think Phil can. I think he probably does. Back in Pittsburgh, I think when there's not a new intern right then at the news station for him to take advantage of, he's probably going out to some nice bar or club and meeting women and immediately asking them out and trying the same thing he's trying here, just with a little less fuel. But he's got charm. He is successful, even though he hates his job. He's an okay catch, you know? And Nancy deserves better. Nancy deserves someone who loves Nancy for who Nancy is. I'm not sure who Nancy is in the movie. And based on her song from the musical, her life is really sad and lonely. And the only way she can break with that is a bit like Phil's Groundhog Day effect, you know, his repetitive, disappointing life before he gets in the time loop. Nancy's life is repetitive and disappointing. So of course she's gonna take this and run with it because it gets her out of the rut. And that sucks. That this is what it takes, is a guy lying to you, and then once he's gotten you back to his frickin' room at the bed and breakfast, which means you know he's not local. So she's either trying to go all in so she can move to Pittsburgh, back to Pittsburgh, as it were, or she's just looking for the one-night stand, and her challenging it. That's why she says it weird. What is this? Some kind of one-night stand? Those pauses of hers, she's calling him on it being a one-night stand, but she knows it's a one-night stand. He doesn't live here. He's a weatherman from Pittsburgh. She knows this. So his, on the contrary, in asking her to marry him, she's basically prompted that lie with her own. Her question is in a way, a lie. She knows it's a one-night stand, but asks him because she's making him put a different label on it, and that means he gets a chance to lie again. He gets a chance to pull her in even more, and she gets the opportunity to choose to believe him. Even if it ultimately is a one-night stand, it can feel like something better for a little while. And that's part of why we're able to forgive Phil's side of this, is because clearly Nancy wants a connection. And probably in the movie, we can guess she probably has one-night stands. Maybe often. In the musical, we know she does. But still, he's doing it in a sloppy way. With the "oh, Rita" twice. How should I know? Whatever. He's not holding his end of this conversation up as well as he should. But Nancy he gives her just enough that she will be like, okay, I'm good. We're here. Because she wants more than she's got. There's actually room for a real connection between these two that we never get, and they'll never get. Because Phil wasted it on this. That's all I got for minute 41. Next time we'll get to, another iteration of February 2nd. As Phil sets about to commit some, what's that? Grand larceny? Is that larceny? Just stealing something? I don't know. I don't know my legal codes and all that offhand. We'll get to that next time. Till then, take care. Do something fun. Watch a movie. Spend time with the people you want to spend time with. Spend time doing the things you want to spend time doing. Because so much of life is out of our hands. So when you can grab onto something and enjoy it, do so.
Knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?